Welcome back to our channel. We want to thank you for watching from wherever you're joining us from around the world. Latest in the continent of Africa today, the country of Madagascar, which is at the brink of collapse. It is important for us to continue to look at how African nations are still entangled in the colonial policies, in the colonial engagement, on how they perceive growth and development in their countries. Madagascar, a terrible history going back to colonialism and its interaction with the country of France, has nothing to write home about. At the moment, according to news media, Madagascar is one of those countries in the continent of Africa that has struggled economically. A lot of challenges, high unemployment rate, and more importantly, the country of Madagascar cannot sustain itself at the moment. How embarrassing is this? It is important for us to continue to look at our African nations who have refused to face the global challenges and tackle economic fundamentals to drive their economies and move away from the current situation. It's important to know that Madagascar has hit the wall. The government at the moment lacks the basic understanding on how to create jobs and look at the current youthful population that's growing in the country of Madagascar. Students coming out from university, we've talked about that. You cannot just continue to listen to geopolitical partners who do not give you the right direction and yourself fail to recognize your own failures as administrations in the continent of Africa. It is important for us to know that Madagascar is a clear example of a failing state that has failed to recognize policies that could enable them thrive to create opportunities for its own national. And what has the government done? It has gone ahead to make one of the most fundamental internal blunder that I would say. I don't know where these governments are getting this particular advice from, who are advising them, the consultants, government analysts, to appoint a military prime minister. I think this is a fundamental disgrace for the country of Madagascar. Madagascar has shown that it has lost all the basics in terms of creating opportunities for its people. Madagascar has shown that it has no particular solution to meet the challenges in its own country. The government of Madagascar, according to news media, national citizens, strike, young people are claiming that the president should step down in a number of areas. We have important videos here to play and we're going to be looking at it. This is going to be a warning signal to those countries across the region who fail to recognize that the world has changed and you also have to move swiftly to meet the needs of your citizens. Let's go to Aljazeera as the reason why this is not just going to be a one-off in the country of Madagascar, as most African countries should pay closer attention. So when your partners tell you don't make choices, you should be quoting things like this, that the challenges that you are facing are bigger than the geopolitical partner's own perspective. Let's play this clip.
After weeks of youth-led protests and demands for President Andry Rajoelina to resign, Madagascar's leader has appointed an army general as the new prime minister in the hopes of calming anger.
We will proceed with the appointment of the Prime Minister as proposed by the members of Parliament and thus appoint a Prime Minister who can restore public order and the confidence of the people.
The appointment appears to be an attempt to secure the support of the army at a time of heightened tension and fear of a potential coup. What began as discontent about a lack of electricity and water shortages has escalated into the most serious challenge facing Madagascar's president since he took office in 2023. Despite sacking his entire government last week, there have been more calls for his resignation.
It is a shame for the country of Madagascar that the government has lost its focus. Talking about closing the parliament or dismissing the government is not going to solve anything. There are tools in place that you're supposed to have worked on. Have a standard economic plan. Have a long-term particular plan to develop your country and tap into the fundamentals of your citizens and, more importantly, the young people in your country. Madagascar cannot continue to rely on just the IMF staff or other global multilateral institutions to continue to move you forward. It is a shame for the country of Madagascar because the president does not understand how to run a proper nation. This is just what we are seeing. So what is happening in Madagascar is not new, and I think that Madagascar is not the first time they are facing these particular challenges. If the nationals are saying that the president should step down, I think that's something for the Madagascar people to decide. But appointing a military person to be the prime minister, of which nothing is coming, you are not dealing with a colonial partner like France, who have behaved in a condescending way across the Sahel, but in this case you are facing internal uprising in your country and you cannot deal with the basics. I think the president of Madagascar should be ashamed of the policy. The government of Madagascar should be ashamed of its strategic focus on why they cannot navigate the current challenges that are going on. Let's play the clip.
Young people across the country continue to pour onto the streets. Protests have given voice to widespread discontent about poverty, a lack of job opportunities for young people, and corruption.
People always say that Madagascar is on the road to development, but no, at the moment, Madagascar is poor, because we don't have a leader to help us develop.
After the baccalaureate, you go to university. You feel capable, you feel well prepared for life, but after you get your bachelor's or master's degree, when you see the reality, you're stuck.
The protests have grown steadily more violent since they began. Demonstrators set up roadblocks and started fires in the streets. Security forces have fired tear gas and stun grenades to break up the crowds. The UN says at least 22 people have been killed and more than 100 injured since the unrest began.
Madagascar is also known for its high-level corruption in the country. And if a government is so corrupt as that of Madagascar, what do you expect? You do not expect anything. So Madagascar government has no shame. It is important that the geopolitical partners are observing very closely. They are watching what's going on in the country of Madagascar. It is an important time in the continent of African history, and countries like Madagascar, who cannot sustain themselves, who cannot survive at this particular time in the continent's own history. And if you look at the current economic difficulties, more importantly, looking at the trade tariffs that are coming from the United States, impacting the country of Madagascar. But I think you can't just blame it on outside influence. The government of Madagascar should be ashamed of itself, like I said it. And if there's a method that needs to be changed, the government has to resign. Let it resign. This is a fundamental disgrace, as countries that have continued to be recognized as nations can no longer sustain themselves. Parties coming do not have a strategic focus for more policies for the long term. The short term is in the country of Madagascar. It's an indication of a country that never thought that this moment would come. Look at the economy of Madagascar, nothing to write home about. Look at the infrastructure. Look at the development and growth. Madagascar has become a laughingstock globally, and it's a country that most people will say that it's not a developing country. Madagascar is falling behind. This is shameful, and at the moment where countries are picking up themselves to move swiftly and also grow their economy. Let's play this clip.
Opposition leaders have come out in support of protests and accused the president of not listening. The protest movement, known as Gen Z Mada, has rejected the army general's appointment to prime minister, saying it will make no difference, and have given the president 48 hours to resign. Joel Evans, Aljazeera.
Let me know in the comment section what you think regards the situation in Madagascar, why Madagascar has become a disgrace in the continent of Africa as the country continues to go down the drain at the moment. The president has lost focus, and the country of Madagascar is also ingrained in corruption. And these are the implications. Other countries that do not see what's going on in Madagascar should pay closer attention. So Madagascar is the latest disgrace in the continent of Africa at the moment. Madagascar's level of corruption is embarrassing. The failure of the current government and the appointment of a military prime minister, or whatever you call it, I think is shame. Madagascar does not have a 5, 10-year, 20-year strategic growth plan. When the government has lost its focus, it starts making unnecessary excuses and making decisions that does not align with the growth and development. This is a wake-up call for the country of Madagascar, as like I've always said, when the youth stop calling, you will be picked up wherever you are standing. So the government of Madagascar is embarrassing. It's a government that has no focus and has failed Madagascan people. I want to thank you for watching. I will be looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Smash the like button and have a good day. Bye-bye.